Remember Ben Johnson? In 1988, he was Canada's golden boy, albeit briefly, when he became the fastest man in the world, running the 100 meters in a sizzling 9.79 seconds at the Olympic Games in Korea. Just one hitch, of course. Ben failed the urine test. It was determined that he was taking steroids in order to give himself an unfair advantage, and presto, that Olympic gold medal was revoked, as were all his commercial endorsements. Well, except for this one.
It's the Being Frank Show with your host, Frank D'Angelo.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight on Being Frank. And it's my honor, my pleasure to have probably one of the most prolific runners to come out of this great country of ours, Canada. Today on our show, we have Ben Johnson. How are you, Ben? Good to have you on. You know, Ben, I want to ask you, probably every Canadian wants to ask you this question. On this show, Being Frank, you're allowed to be able to be candid, to put your cards on the table. Ben, when you run, do you cheat?
Absolutely. I cheat all the time.
Ooh, so bad it's actually brilliant. Poor Ben. Speaking of cheaters, check out the tale of 17-year-old Mac Beggs. Now, don't be fooled by Mac's masculine name, because Mac isn't male. Mac is female. Well, sort of female. You see, Mac is currently transitioning from female to male. Yet the she-male continues to wrestle in the girls division. The problem, of course, is Mac is receiving chemical enhancement by way of testosterone treatments. So in other words, if the other female wrestlers he competes against were found to be taking testosterone treatments to increase their strength, well, that would be deemed as cheating, and they'd be disqualified, much like Ben Johnson was for taking steroids. But because Mac is transitioning, she doesn't have to follow the rules. And guess what? Last week, Mac won the Class 6A Girls State Championship in Texas high school wrestling to a chorus of well-deserved boos. Actually, one is putting it mildly. This season, you see, Mac has resembled She-Hulk Hogan in matches against non-chemically enhanced girls. She's gone 52-0, yes. 52 straight wins and 0 losses against natural girls. Hey, I know at first blush this seems like a storyline taken straight from the WWE, except this outrageous tale is as real and as despicable as it gets. And get this, it is Mac who's now playing the victim card. Both she and her family members claim she really wanted to wrestle in the boys division, but a spokesman with the league that oversees athletics in Texas public schools says they've never received a request to change divisions from any wrestler. If anything, this fiasco is deja vu all over again. After all, a precedent for such gender bender nonsense was set right here in Canada some 16 years ago. I speak of competitive mountain biker Michelle Dumaresque. Michelle was born Michael, by the way. However, Dumaresque underwent sexual reassignment surgery to compete as a woman. Naturally, Michael Michelle won the 2001 Bear Mountain race in Mission, BC, and by a considerable margin. In fact, during the 01 season, Michael Michelle collected enough points in the Canada Cup final to win the overall series, and that earned him an automatic berth on the national women's team. Several real female cyclists were justifiably outraged, but the Canadian Cycling Association, not to mention AWOL feminists, threw these women under the transgender bus. The CCA was just too terrified to challenge Michael Michelle in court, and it didn't want to come across as being, transphobic. So Michael Michelle was allowed to compete as a faux female, even though real women cyclists were getting slaughtered. Regardless of your position on trans rights, does anyone really think this is fair? This isn't transphobia. It's biology 101. Compared to natural women, men have bigger bones, more testosterone, larger lung capacity, and greater aggression assertiveness. This is why, with the exception of equestrian events and auto racing, men and women compete in separate divisions. It's about maintaining a level playing field. Moving forward, there's only one solution, really. We need to add a third division to the mix, namely the trans division. Let's have the Franken females and the he-she slug it out in a league of their own. Maybe some will endure hurt feelings because they want to compete against real men and real women, but at least the trans division will bring about a measure of fairness, something that's clearly lacking now. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Benzoid Menzies. Like what you just saw, then click subscribe below and never miss another Rebel video.